All right, class, we've made it to the last question of the test. So here's what the question asks. We are given a graph of tangent of x, and we're also given this line, the dashed line, which is y equals 2x. And what we're asked to find is we're asked to find all the points on the graph that were shown where the tangent line at that point of tangent of x is parallel to the line y equals 2x. So I can sort of eyeball those, give or take. So there's one, it's give or take about there. If I drew on the tangent line, it would be pretty close. There's one over here. Again, pretty close, give or take. So I'm looking for 2. Okay, how am I going to deal with this whole business of the tangent line is parallel to the line y equals 2x? Well, remember that two lines are parallel if they have the same slope. And so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the spots where the tangent line has the same slope as 2x, which is to say I'm looking for spots where the tangent line has slope 2, which is to say I'm looking for spots where the derivative is 2. Okay. That took a bit of unwinding, but what I want to do here to solve this question is I want to solve the equation f prime of x equals 2. That's what I need to solve to answer the question. Okay, so to do that, we're going to take f prime of x, and that is going to give us a secant squared of x. And so I'm going to set secant squared of x here equal to 2. Really 1 over cosine squared of x is equal to 2, okay, which is to say cosine squared of x is plus or minus 1/2, okay, which is to say cosine of x is plus or minus 1 over root 2. And remember, this 1 over root 2 number is better known on our unit circle as root 2 over 2. They're the same number. So I want to know what are all the points on my unit circle where cosine of x is plus or minus root 2. Right. Well, if I pull up my unit circle, that will give me x is, and so following along, that'll be pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 7 pi over 4. Okay, those are the spots where cosine takes that value. Okay. Now, if you look at this, for this point that I'm looking for, x is positive. And so this is actually the first point where x is positive where this happens. So namely, this is going to correspond to the x equals pi over 4 solution. So the coordinates of this point are pi over 4, comma, and then the tangent of pi over 4. And the tangent of pi over 4 is 1, and that 1 is just the tangent of pi over 4. Okay. On the other hand, this point does not have a positive x. It has a negative x. And so as a result, that point can't possibly be 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, or 7 pi over 4. Okay. So to figure out what this point is, we're going to need to think about going around the unit circle backwards. So instead of our usual way of writing it counterclockwise, we're going to go, as we like to say, counterclockwise. So this way. And figure out which of those I hit first. Or if you want, you could read through the list backwards. But either way, you're going to get that the point you're looking for is 7 pi over 4. Except, of course, 7 pi over 4 is not negative. Okay. But 7 pi over 4 is the same as going backwards pi over 4. So this 7 pi over 4, it corresponds to an angle of minus pi over 4. So when I look at this point, the x-coordinate here is going to be minus pi over 4. Okay. And so again, you can think of that as, oh, I went backwards pi over 4, Or if you want, you could write 7 pi over 4, and then we know if I change this by 2 pi, I don't change where I end up on the unit circle. And so that's 7 pi over 4 minus 8 pi over 4, and so that gives me minus pi over 4. Then all I have to fill in is the tangent of minus pi over 4, and the tangent of minus pi over 4 is minus 1. Okay, and so that point and that point, those are the 2 points I'm looking at. Please remember, if you want me to answer any questions about any of this, please leave a comment here in the video, send me an email, or we'll work out a way for you to visit some sort of virtual office hours. We'll figure it out. But for now, that's the test, and I'll see you next time with some new stuff.